What's up, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today we have a pretty big video. I apologize, I've been a few days behind, but 3 big moves, whether it's been a signing or a trade, has gone down, and 2 of them have been by the Mets, and it's been a while, last couple hours since Kyle Tucker signed. It hasn't been the fastest market of all time, but teams are making moves, which is what you want to see. I think they were waiting for the big guys like Tucker to sign, and he went to the Dodgers. But to start it off, Freddy Peralta was traded from the Milwaukee Brewers to the Mets. This is going to be weird seeing him in that orange and white in New York because Freddy Peralta I thought was going to be a Brewer for the rest of his life. He's a top probably 10 pitcher of all time there and one of the best pitchers they've had in franchise history. So why did the Brewers do this if this is one of their best pitchers in franchise history? It was to save money, and he's on an expiring contract, so that works out for them. They got prospects back, and the Brewers breed pitchers. Like, they have Tobias Myers, a guy they gave up, but they have so many young pitchers that they can turn into the next Freddy Peralta, so I don't think the Brewers are totally concerned about missing out on Peralta. But like I said, it was a salary dump, and he's on an expiring contract, which means he's a free agent after this year. But in exchange for Freddy Peralta, the Brewers gave up Brandon Sprout, who's a good young pitcher. In 2025, he had 4.79 and 20.2 innings pitched in that MLB. At one point, he was a top 50 prospect in baseball and number 1 in the Mets system. He kind of slowed down. His fastball lost velocity, his sinker did, but then he got that velocity back, and he was much better in the big leagues in the second half of his kind of short stint because it was only 20 innings. But the Brewers believe this is going to be the next Freddy Peralta. They think they're going to turn this guy into Peralta. He has the stuff to do. It's just if the Brewers can breed him and make him into that guy. They also got Jet Williams in return, who's a 5'7" short king. He's a super utility player. He has a grade 60 to 65 arm, depending on the scout. 60 is labeled above average, whether it's a pitch or running school. So 70 is insane. He's 5 points off it. So incredible arm, and he can swing a little bit. He's short, but he has some power. 17 homers, 52 RBIs, and OPS 828 with 34 stolen bases. This guy is like kind of perfect for the Brewers mold. He's going to play first base, second base, shortstop, third if you want him to. All the outfield positions. He's a super utility guy like the South Relix they have out there. They have a lot of Garrett Mitchell even. They have a lot of young players that play a lot of positions, which is the Brewers mold, and they just go out and have fun. But like I said, they believe they can turn Sprout into the next Freddy Peralta, and they got a South Relix like guy, but maybe better offense and more power in Jet Williams. The Mets, in exchange for those 2 prospects, got in exchange Freddy Peralta. Like I said, one of the best pitchers in baseball. Reliable, healthy, nasty fastball. 96, 97, 6'7". Those nasty changeup. His slider's his best pitch. It's unfair. Moves this way, horizontal. It's wicked. And he's wicked good. Like I said, a top 10 pitcher in baseball. In 2025, he had a WAR of 5.5 with an ERA of 2.70 and 176.2 innings pitched with 204 strikeouts, and he's a 2-time career All-Star. Like I said, 200 strikeouts in 176 innings. Most of those were off his slider and changeup, but some he blew by fastballs by hitters. Like I said, a top pitcher in baseball, and the Mets got an absolute stud in this guy. I wanted the Diamondbacks to go and get him, but, I mean, I don't think we would. It's expiring contract, and we would have had to give up Slade Caldwell or Jordan Lawler, and we need pitching, but I don't think that's worth it. Not only did the Mets get Freddy Peralta, a top pitcher in baseball, they also got a really solid reliever in Tobias Myers. He broke out in 2024 with a 3 ERA. He didn't struggle that much more in 2025, but the ERA ballooned a little bit, 3.55 and 50.2 innings pitched. But that's what you want as a reliever. But the Diamondbacks could use this guy. I did this locked down out of the pen, and like a 3.55 ERA in 50 innings, especially after getting Freddy Peralta with that. That's incredible. And the Mets rotation now is really good. They have Freddy Peralta, Cody Bellinger, McLean, Sean Manaea, and Jonah Tang, not including guys like David Peterson or Clay Holmes if he goes back to the bullpen. They have a lot of good pieces that they can plug here and there. And like I said, it's just wild that they got Freddy Peralta, which is crazy because, I mean, Freddy Peralta's, like I keep saying, a top pitcher in baseball, and the Mets got a darn good one. Luis Robert Jr. was traded from the White Sox to the New York Mets, and I personally feel like this trade was 3 years late, in my opinion, but he's going to be better on the Mets than I think he is the White Sox, to be honest, because the White Sox have not been good, and there's many reasons. Just, he's been unhealthy. I think a couple of those injuries he faked, and it's just interesting because I don't think he was very motivated in Chicago, which, unless it's the Cubs, I wouldn't be motivated either because he struggled there. But like I said, 3 years late. 2023 was the last time the White Sox were good, and you look at 38 homers, ridiculously good defense. Robert's an absolute stud, and they call him the Panther in, I think it's Spanish, with his nickname. Which anytime you have a nickname as an animal, that is so tough. But like I said, 2025 he had 14 homers, and OPS is 661, but then OPS plus 85 with a WAR of 1.4. But like look at 2023 for example, 38 homers and OPS 857 and OPS plus at 130, and he stayed healthy, which was the biggest thing. He has incredible defense, incredible arm strength. He seems like a good hitter too when he wants to be healthy and motivated. Now that I think he's healthy and motivated, I think he's gonna have a 40 to 35 home run season with the Mets. And the Mets, I mean, they didn't give up much for him. They gave up two pretty good prospects, but that's not that much for Luis Robert Jr. And also, I think they pivoted, because we'll talk about it in a second, but Cody Bellinger re-signed with the Yankees, and they wanted Cattell to be an outfield, but Cattell's too much of a hamstring issue, and the Diamondbacks said they weren't trading him. The White Sox, in exchange for Luis Robert Jr., got Ronald Acuna Jr.'s little brother, Luis Angel Acuna, who kind of carried the Mets in 2024 after Lindor went down with an injury. But in 2025, he struggled. He had an OPS of 567, 0 homers and 8 RBIs. Like I said, not great there. But in 2024, he hit 179 against fastballs in 2025 and 295 off speed pitches and 316 off breakers, so curveballs. So if you throw him an off speed pitch, he's gonna hammer it. A fastball, it's not gonna go well. 179, which is weird too, because you think about hitters that all say, I'm hunting that fastball. Acuna's hunting those all speed pitches, which is bizarre. And they also got Truman Pauly in exchange for Robert. He's a young pitcher that's kind of getting up there in age for prospects. Nasty off speed, like the fastball and the slider work wonders, but he hasn't been able to put it together, and he hasn't pitched in the minor leagues in years, so can't really go much off that. But the White Sox are building something special down there. They have Kyle Teo, Colson Montgomery, Brooks Baldwin, Murakami, however you say his last name, and I mean it's just they have talent there. It's just whether they can put it together. You even have Lilian Sosa, Josh Rojas, if he's still on that team. I'm pretty sure he is. But the White Sox, they just have pieces they can plug and play. But I don't think they're going to be great. But they're going to be way better than they have been in years past. Each year it's going to keep getting better until they're in the playoffs again. I think in 3 years we'll see the White Sox with this young core they're building now in the playoffs. Because like I said, they keep just... It's not been trading right, but they're trading well. And it's starting to work out because you see the vision, like they're rebuilding for the playoffs. Cody Bellinger re-signed with the New York Yankees. Like I said, it was 5 years, $162.5 million, no trade clause. The Yankees do not like to do that, but I guess they made an exception for Bellinger. Bellinger, though, I mean, like I said, he kind of pivoted. I think the Mets did because they went and got Robert. They were in on Bellinger, but instead they got Robert because I think the day before it happened, people in the inside knew Bellinger was going back to the Yankees. He is 7 outs above average in 2025. He kind of mashed against lefties, was better against lefties even though he's a lefty hitter, and was decent against righties. So if you can flip those, he'd be incredible. But he's not a lineup killer because he mashes against lefties. In 2025, he had 29 homers and 98 RBIs and OPS of 813 and OPS plus a 125. He's an MVP, a 2-time Gold Glove Award winner. Bellinger's one of the best players out there in baseball, and he's darn good. He struggled a couple times throughout his career, figured out how to readapt and be an incredible player. But what does this mean for Spencer Jones, Jason Dominguez? They have a logjam out there. Even Trent Grisham. Where do you put these guys? Do you trade a Jason Dominguez because he's been in your prospect league for a while? Or do you hold on to him like a Jordan Lawler like the Diamondbacks are doing? What do you do with these outfielders, and how do you plug and play them? Do you trade them for pitchers? What would you do if you were a Yankees fan? Comment down below. But it's 5 years, $162.5 million for Bellinger to the Yankees. He's going to look awesome with that short porch out there. And he's a darn good player too. He's a top 15, 20 in baseball, 25, 30 at worst. Good glove, speed, can hit for power, 98 homers. Like Bellinger, he's a stud. The final big move that happened that we're covering in today's video is Mackenzie Gore was traded from the Washington Nationals to the Texas Rangers. The Nationals, in exchange from Gore, got an absolute haul, if I'm going to be honest. They got Abelic Ortiz, who had 25 homers, 89 RBIs, and OPS 835, and rakes as a first baseman. He's going to be a stud in the future. I think they also got Alejandro Rosario, who in 2024 had an ERA of 2.24 and 88.1 innings pitched. With 129 strikeouts. Good stuff. Didn't pitch in 25 due to injury, but pretty good stuff. That's 2 out of the 5 players they got back, and those 2 guys are going to be studs in the future and are good in the minors. They got Devin Fitzgerald, who had 26 homers and OPS of 910 with 120 RBIs, or 20 RBIs and 139 at-bats. I mean, it's not much at-bats, but 26 homers and 139 RBIs and at-bats, dude, he raced and was one of the best hitters out there. A small sample size, like I said, but it looks to be good. They also got Yetime Cabrera, who had 8 homers and RBI of 52, and OPS at 730 and 383 at-bats. Has some potential, but he needs to figure out how to get into his legs more and pop, because 8 homers and 338 at-bats isn't a lot. And the biggest quote-unquote fish, I say that in air quotes because I don't believe he's the biggest fish, he has the most potential, but he struggled the most, is Gavin Feen. 0 homers, 7 RBIs, and 41 at-bats. Struggled, but he's an explosive shortstop with a good glove. If he can figure out how to hit it a little bit, he can be a good player. But that's insane. The Nationals got 5 good prospects. Depending on others, you can argue great, but 5 good prospects for one pitcher that's under contract till 2027. I wanted the Diamondbacks to get this dude, but when you see the deal and how much they give up, you're like, that makes sense. We need to get other pitchers, though. The Rangers got a reliable young pitcher who will eat innings. In 2024, he had a WAR of 3.0 with a 4.17 ERA in 159 innings with 186 strikeouts. He's a one-time All-Star, made the All-Star team this year. He's under contract till 2025 or till 2027. And Mackenzie Gore's a stud, a young pitcher, and he's great for the Rangers. And the Rangers got pretty good pitching staff going on there. Jacob deGrom, Mackenzie Gore, Evaldi, a little bit of a decent pitching staff. That's it for today's video. Comment down below your favorite move and what you think the best move is in today's video. But thank you guys for watching. Have a great rest of your day.